All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a framework that tries to answer a really frustrating question, one that I'm sure has bugged you at some point. You know the feeling, right? You're part of a group, everyone's smart, everyone's got great intentions, the goal is clear, and then it just kind of fizzles out. It falls apart, and you're left scratching your head wondering, what on earth just happened? Well, the holistic community model argues that maybe the problem isn't the people at all, it's the design. And this quote just nails it. Communities fail when authority hardens and knowledge narrows. In other words, when power gets stuck with one person and essential skills get trapped in little silos, the entire group becomes incredibly fragile, no matter how good everyone's intentions are. So let's really dig into that idea. We're going to explore the core principles of designing for resilience, instead of just, crossing our fingers and hoping for the best. Okay, so first things first, we have to get our heads around the fact that communities don't usually blow up in some big dramatic fashion. Nah, they tend to erode quietly, from the inside out, pushed by these hidden forces that we often don't even see until it's way too late. And one of the biggest of those forces is burnout. Now, this model reframes burnout in a way that is so powerful. It says burnout is not a personal flaw, it's a system failure. Let me say that again. It is not you failing the system, it's the system failing you. Think of it like a flashing red light on your car's dashboard. It's a critical piece of data telling you the design is broken. So when a group is under strain, what's the typical response? Moral appeals, right? Come on, everybody, we just need to step up. It relies on goodwill and, let's be honest, a little bit of shame. And it just leads to more burnout. This model says, forget that. You need structural clarity. Instead of saying try harder, you say, let's rotate the specific role. You rely on a clear process, not just feelings. And that is how you build something that can actually last. And this gets to the absolute heart of the burnout problem. See, the most dangerous work in any community is the work that you can't see. We're talking about a huge mountain of labor that is absolutely essential for keeping things going, but it's never acknowledged, never scheduled, and never really valued. And this is real work. It's the emotional energy someone spends to de-escalate a tense meeting. It's the mental load of always thinking 5 steps ahead. It's the constant effort of maintaining the social glue that holds everyone together. When all that work isn't named and shared, it always falls on the same few people, and eventually, they just break. And it's the exact same thing with conflict. We tend to see arguments as a moral failure, a clash of personalities. But this model says, no, conflict is just data. An argument is a signal that's pointing to something deeper. Unclear roles, a strain on resources, or a boundary that just got crossed. It's valuable feedback about where your system has a crack. Okay, so if burnout and conflict are just signals of a broken design, how do we actually fix the design? Let's get into the systems layer now and look at how you can build power and infrastructure in a way that doesn't rely on heroes. And right away, the model makes this crucial distinction between leadership and stewardship. See, leadership is often visionary. It asks, where are we going? But stewardship is more like a caretaker. The steward asks, is our system healthy enough to get there? Is it actually functioning? Resilient communities know you have to prioritize stewardship because you can't depend on a single charismatic leader to be around forever. So how do you bake stewardship into a system? Well, it all comes down to 2 core principles that are the absolute engine of resilience. And here's the kicker. They are totally inseparable. You have to have both. Think about it for a second. If you rotate authority and just hand the keys to someone who has no idea what they're doing, you don't get resilience, you get chaos. It's dangerous. And people will naturally fight against that kind of change because it feels unstable and incompetent. Now, look at the flip side. If you train a bunch of people but never actually give them the authority to make decisions, their skills just get rusty. The system stays completely dependent on that one person at the top, which makes it incredibly fragile. The second they're gone, the whole thing grinds to a halt. See? You need both. Knowledge overlap and rotational authority. This whole philosophy even extends to physical infrastructure. Maintenance isn't just a chore you get to when you have time, it's treated as a core practice for survival. You make it visible, you schedule it, you rotate who's responsible, and most importantly, you protect it from being put off. You treat it as essential, not optional, and that's how you prevent the slow, silent decay that kills so many good projects. So let's say you've done all this. Your internal system is perfectly designed. You'd think you're safe, right? Well, not so fast. Because even the best internal systems can fail. No community exists in a vacuum, and often the biggest threat comes from the outside world pulling it apart. To manage this, the model has a concept called boundary sovereignty. Now, this isn't about building a fortress and isolating yourselves, not at all. It's about being incredibly intentional and strategic about how your community engages with the outside world, so you can do it on your own terms. And the metaphor here is just brilliant. A healthy boundary isn't a wall that blocks everything out. That just leads to fragility. It's more like a cell membrane. It's smart, it's selective. It carefully filters out the risks while allowing a healthy exchange of knowledge, resources, and ideas. It protects your identity without isolating you. And you have to be so careful with this, because dependency often shows up disguised as a gift. That unmanaged aid, those convenient supply chains, those helpful partners, they can all slowly erode a community's ability to provide for itself, shifting power outward until it's too late to get it back. So if we pull all of this together, we get to the most crucial point of all. Resilience isn't an accident. It's not a cultural vibe or a moral high ground. It's an engineered outcome. It's the direct result of a well-designed, competent system. This means building systems where being prepared isn't about being scared. It's just a calm, normal part of how you operate. It's the natural byproduct of good design, of things like rotating roles and scheduling maintenance. It's not a frantic reaction to crisis. It's the quiet confidence that comes from competence. And this quote really is the central insight of this entire model. It's about designing humane systems, systems that can absorb stress and turnover and human error because they don't rely on any single person being a superhero forever. It's a design for reality. And that leaves us with a final question to take into our own lives. In your team, your company, your neighborhood, what are the invisible forces at play? Where has authority gotten a little too hard or knowledge a little too narrow? And what's one small thing you could redesign, not to work harder, but to build something that's truly meant to last?